Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. We have lots of fun plant chores to get into in today's video, and I wanted to bring y'all with me to do them because it's always more fun when y'all are doing the plant chores with me. Even though you're not like here, it just makes it easier somehow. I don't quite understand, but it does. But that's what we're gonna do today. Before we get into it though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanting content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanting journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. Let's get straight into it. We're starting out in the office today because first things first, it's currently 9 o'clock. But at 9:30 I am meeting one of my followers actually to offload some plants, which is good. I need to get rid of some plants, and this is the person who also took my big monstera from me. They're great. It's just nice to be able to like have someone who is like willing to take on some projects. They've taken on a lot of projects from me, which I mean, is fine. But the things that they have wanted, I'm going to put in this bag. First up, the biggest one, and so the thing that's going to go in first, is the Monstera dubia that they can use for parts, because it is an extremely awkward plant, and it needs some TLC. We have the Cebu Blue here. Basically, I had a massive moss pole of Cebu Blue, the bottom cut, and I recently took this off in one of my Patreon live chats. I took it off the moss pole, and I don't feel like I need it. I have like 3 or 4 other Cebu Blues in my home, and I just don't need this one as well. So this can be another project for them. I mean, I personally, if I were taking this on, would probably cut it into smaller pieces. Maybe don't put this one in yet because it needs a pot. But then got some Syndapsis argyraeus. Again, this is one that I've got like so many duplicates of. I don't feel like I need to have it in my collection. I mean, I talked about all of this in my decluttering video last week. So if you want to know why I'm getting rid of most of these, it's all in there. The Apexel is another one. And then I think that's it for them once I put this Cebu Blue in. Da-da-da-da. Come on. And then we have a nice bag full of planty bits to go to someone else who actually wants to give them the love they deserve. And I've cleared out a massive chunk of this zone. I feel like even just getting the dubia gone is huge because that one it weighs on my mind. The plants that I have that I'm just like kind of ignoring, they weigh on my mind because I feel really bad about ignoring them. But it's okay. We have got it sorted now, and we can, I guess, wait another 25 minutes to go meet them. There we go. I'm so happy. Thank you. Okay, so we can tick that off my list. And then the next thing I really feel like I need to do is clean out my pond box. I've been procrastinating on this for a while now, and it's a bit grubby in there. So this is where it's currently at, and I know it's got like hella algae in here, just off of, you can literally see it. Like look at that water at the bottom. It just looks dirty, and so it'd be a good idea, I think, to get it a little bit cleaner. And I may as well check up on the plants in here. I know I kind of did that in my decluttering video, but I want to give these a really good check because when I was doing that decluttering video, I saw a couple of bugs moving around, and I don't think that they're necessarily pests, but I want to like double, triple check that they're not. and I have the perfect tool for that job. So I've pulled out all of the plants, and I'm just gonna go through and give them a really good look over. Okay, yeah, I think this one has what I'm looking for, but I'm going to give them a really thorough look over and make sure that what I was seeing on the plants isn't actually pests. And what I'm gonna be doing that with is a new phone microscope-ish lens from Apexel. And Apexel have very kindly sponsored this portion of the video so I can show y'all what their products do and how they can be useful in plants. So this is what the lens looks like, and you just clip it onto your phone, making sure that it is over the lens of the camera. Once you click the lens on, you get 100 times magnification. And another thing I love about this one is it's got a light on it as well. And so when I'm really up close looking at the plant leaves, I'm not blocking out the light. I can still see very well what I am looking at. So I'm going to just go in here. I mean, even just looking at the leaves on their own without looking for pests is super fascinating. Like, being able to go in there and see the sort of veination on the leaves is very, very cool. So I think it was this one. So we've got this little guy in here, which looks like some sort of mite because it's got 8 legs. So maybe a red spider mite, but I wouldn't think that I'd be able to get spider mites in this spot because it's so moist. And it doesn't look like any other signs of spider mites are on this leaf. Like, normally you'd see like other ones as well as like carcasses kind of around and eggs, but I'm really not seeing anything else besides this one little insect. What do y'all think? Is this a spider mite? Put your vote down in the comments. I'm genuinely unsure. I think because I am unsure, I am going to squish it, but that's okay. That was a leaf, and so there's no actual damage on it, so I'm kind of leaning toward it being a non-plant predator. Let's keep looking on other ones to see if there's any more signs of pests or damage. This one has like a couple of white spots on it, but I think there might just be like mineral crystals. Oh, look how beautiful this anthurium leaf is. It's like so sparkly. Ooh, I wonder if the mellow, oh my god, that looks so cool. But look at that texture on the mellow. I could just do this all day. It's just nice to be able to check whether something is a pest or just like a little bit of dust or debris. Like, you can see there's little bits of debris on this leaf, and I wouldn't think that anything of it. Yeah, like that. My brain could say, oh, it's a mealy. It's not. It's literally just probably a piece of sand or something. I mean, if anything, it's just showing me that I need to clean these plants more often. I'll give them a good rinse off when I clean out this box. But I think this is a great product for plant parents because you don't need an app or anything to go with it like you would with a USB microscope. This I can just put straight on my phone and go straight into my camera and not need to worry about hooking up to Bluetooth or anything crazy like that. I can just go straight in and start looking at my leaves quickly, which is great when I am looking for pests, because sometimes you spot them and by the time you've pulled out your like magnifying glass or my microscope or something, they have gone to a whole different part of the leaf and I can no longer find them. And so having something that is so easily accessible makes like pest searching a really easy process. So I highly recommend putting one of these onto your wish list this holiday season so you can get a better look at the plants in your collection. Also, Apexel have a sale on at the minute, so if you want to get yourself one of these or several other different type of phone lenses, head to the link in my description to get yourself a bit of a discount. And thanks again, Apexel, for sponsoring this portion of the video. So now that we have determined that these plants probably don't have pests on them, we can go through and give this box a massive clean, and I can give these a good rinse as well. Make sure to rinse off any of that like dust and debris that I was seeing on the plants earlier. But the main thing that I want to do is clean out this box because it is nasty in there. So I feel like this is perfect timing because while the box is drying, I kind of want to adjust the grow light situation here. Also, sorry, the sun has come out and it's like basically blinding me. But while this mother grow light has been fine here and it does put some light onto the Splendid, I feel like the plants in the palm box would benefit from grow lights from the top. And so I got myself this 2-pack of Barina grow lights, which I've never tried Barina before, so I figured it'd be good to try out a new one. And I feel like these will just be the perfect sort of light for this shelf. So this is what they look like, and I can daisy chain the two together, which I feel like makes sense. So I can kind of put them one at the back, one at the front, and it'll cover kind of the whole, thank you, Cleo, and it'll cover the whole space well enough, I think. So hello Cleo. So let's install them now with the help of Miss Cleo, and we can get this space probably better lit for those plants. So I'm going to be using command Velcro for this to attach them to the glass up here, because I find that is what works best for my grow lights. So I can just go in here and figure out kind of where I want it. Can be pretty flexible with these. Just there is good. Okay. Yeah, that looks so good. And it's a bit of a warm light, but I think that'll be really nice for this zone. So the annoying thing that I've just figured out is that because it's got one of these like electrical boxy things on it, whenever I turn it off manually or like in the app, if the plug socket is off and then I turn it back on, so it should turn on, and all of my other lights would turn on if I did this. This one doesn't, and I'd have to manually turn it on. So that is a little bit annoying. Luckily, I can set it on a timer so I could go for 9 hours from this point, and it would be fine. It's just ever so slightly inconvenient because that's not how I do my grow lights in my home. I was hoping because it has these little switches here that it would just be able to do it manually. Maybe I will email Barina and see if they have like one of these cords without this little box in it, because it's literally just this box that stops it from going on automatically when the like plug turns on. But aside from that, I think it looks really good here. I really like the color of this light. It's quite warm, and so I feel like it'll be quite cozy in this zone, and I think my plants will quite like it once I put them back here, which I could probably do quite soon because it's probably dry by this point. And we can go in and re-add some water. And I tend to like the water to go about 1 centimeter up. And I feel like that's pretty much 2 liters, which is what this watering can is. I mean, maybe that's a little bit high, but I think it will be fine. And I am going to put some fertilizer in here because otherwise these plants never get fertilized. And because this doesn't get rinsed very often, I think I'm gonna use the dilution for normal potting mix. So because I had 2 liters, I'm gonna add about 4 ml to the thing. There we go. Okay, maybe that's closer to 5, but that's fine. I can add that in here and give it a good stir. And this already has a little bit of color to it. You can see in there already, it is not just clear, which is absolutely fine. And hopefully it won't cause it to get too algae-y too quickly, but if it does, it's not the end of the world. I'll just have to clean it again. So we can just go back and put these guys in again. And the lid goes on. And we can pop it back in its spot. Oh yeah, I like that so much better for this. It looks so nice. I feel like the plants will just be able to grow up more as opposed to the side like they would have done when I had the other grow light here. And I know that it is a bit of a shame that the Splendid isn't going to be getting as much light, but that is a problem for me to fix another time because I feel like this is a better option for these especially. And now we can check off clean pond box and pest check those plants, as well as installing the new grow lights. And now I'm going to do some potting up of propagations because I have several begonias and a couple ficuses that I want to put back into their mother plants. It has been absolutely ages since I have set up my table to do like potting stuff, but this just felt like a table sort of job because they were all quite small things that I want to be doing. And we're gonna do the semi-hydro one first because it is a little bit of a cleaner process. So I've got a little prop vessel here. My Monstera ghost leaf is not actually rooting, it's just rotting down the end. So to be honest, I've probably just been that. But I have 2 begonias in here that are rooting very, very well. The first of which is my Thurstonii. These are the roots on it there. Very, very good. And then I also have some white ice, which has rooted very well. And I don't know if I feel like putting it into my other plant of this because my white ice is already super duper thick. So maybe I will save this as something that can go to somebody else and pot it up for that, I guess. But first we can do the Thurstonii. And this one's gonna be slightly complicated because I have to, like, this is the first time I've ever like potted something into a pre-existing no drainage container. And I'm a little bit nervous that it's going to be a process. So, because I can't just like scoop some of this semi-hydro out. So I've got this. I feel like the easiest thing for it might be to just kind of not start over, but repot it. And then I can also see, because this cutting, this one came off of this branch that broke off when I was potting this up. And I can go and check to see if the roots on that are okay, because it's not been growing. Because if it is just like dead in here, I mean, it's just like a mass of roots. And I think they're healthy. Begonia roots are so thin, I just can't tell. And are they meant to be brown? I don't know. I think we can probably just go in and pot this in with them. About there. Yeah? Does that look okay? Yeah. And put that back. I also want to put the stake in there. My little skeleton hand, because that is cool. Like, it just makes me so happy. And then we put all the semi-hydro back. I mean, this isn't the easiest of processes. Maybe if I clip it all together, then it'll like be in one place, if that makes sense. It'll all be where it's supposed to be. And then this one. Then I can just scoop this semi-hydro back in more easily. Sweet. Now I've basically doubled the size of my Thurstonii, which is really, really nice. I was really sad when I broke that piece off, so I was glad I could propagate it all right. And it otherwise seems perfectly happy in there. It's got new growth coming into it, so it's not like it's not like those roots that looked like they could have been rotted are causing any issues with it. So I'm really not worried. Let me know though if you think I should be worried, because then maybe I will be a bit more worried. But for now, I think that's fine. I genuinely don't fancy potting this one up. I just don't think it's the right time for it. Let me go get the plant. You know what? Maybe it is a good time, because I feel like, yeah, look at those roots. They're just going a little bit crazy in there. So yeah, maybe it is a good time, and I can pot it up into a bigger one. And with this one, it's got one of the clear inserts, and I can see the roots a little bit better. And I can grab a stake for it, because right now it's just holding onto itself. And I think having a stake would be a bit better. So stake-wise, we have two options, which I like the iridescent one better because I feel like they look really good with the begonias because they reflect the colors a little bit. Or I have this guy, which is quite a tall one, which I feel like might be necessary because this is quite a tall plant. And it would probably just suit it a little bit better. And I mean, it'll blend into the background because it's black anyways. And it kind of has, yeah, I feel like the black one is the right choice, even though I do really like that one. For now, that will have to do. and pour you out. So I did do a bit of root ripping because the cord didn't want to come out, but I think that should be okay. I feel like this begonia is fairly resilient, so it should be fine. And yeah, this is the small semi-hydro. Do I have any of the big semi-hydro? I think I do. I mostly just use the coarse stuff as a layer on the bottom because it's got holes. It's got holes in there. And the small semi-hydro, I find that, or the fine semi-hydro, I find that it can go and fall through those holes quite easily. So adding this in makes it not do that. Literally just a layer on the bottom before going in with the finer stuff. And you know what? I am gonna pot this ever so slightly deeper just so it can have slightly more support on itself. And I can put that in too while we're here. And oh gosh, I feel like the easiest way is to actually attach these to the trellis before you put the rest of the semi-hydro in, because then you only kind of have to hold one thing as you're potting it. I realize you can't see the top, but I mean, it's okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, and then we can take the cutting and plop it in there as well. Join her in to the bunch. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then we can fill it in with the smaller semi-hydro. There we go. I feel like that's looking, I mean, it's not amazing, but where this one lives in the bedroom, it'll be a lot easier to see whether or not it needs water with this indicator than when it is in the dark plastic, because if the light's shining off of it, you really can't see the water level very well. So while these are good, I feel like they need to be in a spot that you can very easily see them, where this, I can much more easily just tell what it is from afar. By it, I mean the water level. Okay, and then we have the ficuses. Sorry, the light just keeps going in and out. It is weird, but basically I have these two bits that I pruned from the top of my Shiveriana and my Taniki, or Tanaka, however it's pronounced. And they are rooted in here, and actually the roots are like trying to escape out the top, which is pretty interesting. So I figured it's probably time to pot these up properly. Hopefully they're both rooted in here. It's not just one of them. Oh no, it is just one of them. I was wondering why this one's leaves were so floppy. Look at the rot on there. Unfortunately, it has not rooted, which is okay. That doesn't bother me as much. I am very glad though that the Shiveriana has rooted nicely. And the good thing about rooting in perlite, which I don't do all that often by itself, even though I know it does work really well, I've done like whole experiments to prove that, I just don't tend to propagate just in perlite very frequently. And so, I don't know, it's just how it is. But one reason why it's really good is if you're potting into soil or even semi-hydro, because it's an inorganic medium, you can kind of just put it straight into the soil. I can kind of just dig myself a hole in this one. and plop it in, because there's already perlite in this soil, so it doesn't really matter if it's like gaining some perlite when I put this cutting in. And then put the soil back on top. And I'll make sure to water this in and make sure it stays nice and hydrated for a little while. There we go. And now we have a little baby to go in the top. But one thing that I have noticed, so this is the first time I've ever properly pruned my ficuses, my Ficus elasticas, and it has grown so many new growth points from the top there. I swear there's 3 in there, which is pretty phenomenal considering that it was only 1 branch before. I don't know if all 3 of those will last long term, but hopefully they will. And then this one, I did only chop it, I chopped it at the same time, and this one's only put out 1 new growth point at the top there, but it already had 2 that were branching out from the bottom, and I think the chop just kind of put more energy into those in addition to the new growth point at the top. So it's like, I'm not worried that this one's got 3 and this one's only got 1. They are both still growing pretty well. And I have also heard, let me know if you've done this before or like your opinion on it, but I have heard that ficuses are like super duper thirsty, and so they can do really, really well in semi-hydro with a water reservoir, meaning that they kind of had a constant access to water as opposed to in soil where I have to be adding it in regularly. I've heard it does really good things, but I'm not sure, and I'm kind of nervous to try it for myself because, I mean, I guess I don't have much to lose with this one, because it is just a bit of a meh plant anyways. So maybe it's something I can try in the future, but I'm a little bit nervous for it now. So let me know your experiences if you have had success growing Ficus elastica in semi-hydro. Let me know, and maybe I can give it a go with this one. I probably wouldn't do my Cheveria on it until I knew for like positive that it worked really well, because this is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorites, even though I don't talk about it much. I absolutely love having this one in my collection, and I would be very, very sad to lose it, given they are becoming a lot more like readily available and inexpensive now. So like, it wouldn't be the end of the world if I lost it. So yeah, those are the props that needed potting. I am a little bit sad about this one that I lost, but it's okay. I kind of had a feeling because it was so floppy, like you can really tell it is a floppy thing, as opposed to this is very firm. It's floppy. So I'm not actually surprised that that is the case, but I can now put these back into their spots and move on to the next thing on my plant chores list. Another tick to be made. And I think the last thing I had on my list for today was to sort one of the grow lights in the office, and I'll show you why. So it is this grow light here, and I currently have it off, but look what happens when I turn it on. It is so dim compared to the exact same one above it. It is basically not putting out any light. So basically it is a fluorescent bulb. I think it is just reached its end, but I do have a spare one of these lights, which I could probably take the bulb out of and put into this one so that these plants have light again. This is one of my plant stuff doom piles that I kind of have throughout the flat. It's kind of got a mix of everything from plant stands to cork bark, grow lights, like propagation tubs. Trellises tend to go in here as well, but you can see I have a spare one of these fluorescent grow lights, and I can take this light out and we can hopefully pop this one into the other one. And if it works, that'd be great. The bulbs on these are all interchangeable, so I would think that it would be possible. And maybe that bulb is just out, because I've had these grow lights for, I'm pretty sure, like 5 years now, since I think 2019. So Ha! Yeah. So yeah, I think this bulb just conked out, which I mean is pretty good. The fact that I've had it for 5 years, I've had these lights for so long, and I have them in my IKEA cabinet as well. And this is the first bulb that has died on me. I had 5 of these, and none of them have ever shown signs of not working anymore. The ones I've had in my IKEA cabinet, those have literally just been on for 12 hours a day or more for the past 5 years. So, I mean, doing pretty well there. I'm not mad that this one has finally conked out, but I am glad that we now have light for these plants again, because I was getting, not worried, but aware that these plants probably needed a little more something to keep growing nicely. So that is the last thing I had on my list for today, and we can take it off, which is awesome. I'm very glad I've been able to get all of that stuff done. Thank you all for hanging out with me while I did. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other planty things you'd like me to talk about in the future. If I mentioned something in passing in this video and you want to know more on it, let me know and I can hopefully make that happen for you, and subscribe for more. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!